Hello and welcome to another screencast by Teach Me to Code. This is Eric Berry, and I'm going to be talking about some Ruby essentials, which include strings, arrays, and hashes. So let's get started. The first thing you need to have is Ruby installed. To make sure you have it installed, you can go to your console or terminal and type Ruby -v, and that will give you your the version of Ruby that you're using. Now, if you don't have it installed, hit pause, go download it, install it, and get it running to where this works. We're going to use the IRB console, which is the Ruby console, the interactive console. To do that, you type IRB, and it runs just like that. So a command I'm going to be using often is Control L, and that will clear the screen and bring your prompt up to the top. So the first things I want to show you about strings are, let's just create a string here. Teach me to code, and let's say we want to capitalize it. So I'll just go over a few of the things that you can do with it. So we can have capitalize, and we can have upcase. So we have upcase, converts it all to uppercase. Let's say you have a string and you want to downcase it, so you can do that. So those are some things that you can do with a string. Another thing that we can do is do a search and replace. To do that, let's say we have our string teach me to code, and I want to search and replace, and to do that you use gsub. And the first parameter that you pass in is either a string or a regex. So I'll show you how to do both. The first one, I'll just replace code with fly, and you'll see it returns teach me to fly. Now let's do another one where we want to replace all of our, let's say we want to replace all of our vowels with an asterisk. So there we go. We pass in a regex saying, give, for all of the vowels, let's replace it with an asterisk, and that's how that works. Okay, let's move along here. Let's say we have a URL, and here I'm going to cheat a little bit and cut and paste. And in this URL we have a username and a password. And we want to be able to, within the string, I want to go in and find the value of the username and the password. So the way you can do that is by using the scan method for strings, and it requires a regex. So let's say we want to find the username equals, and I want the value after that, all the words, or the word after that, through the end of that word. So there you see that that's how we do that, and you can get the password as well the same way. Now let's say we want to get both the username and the password at the same time. So you can do this where you say username and password, and then if you did that, you'll see that it does return all of them. And if I put the, let's try that again. If I put inspect on there, it'll actually show you the actual the way that it's presented to Ruby. So I guess it's the more readable way in code. So so you see what I did was it returned an array of arrays, as you can see. All right, so next thing we want to do is, let's say we have our same URL here, and I want to verify domain name. Let's say I want to make sure that it is test.com. So let's do that by using our include tag. So if I did url.include with a question mark, then passed in a string, it does return true. Now, it does not hold true for, it is case sensitive. So one way you can make sure that that does work is by first downcasing it, which we've already covered, and then do your test. There we go. So that's how you would do that. Okay, let's talk about arrays. So I want to create an array, and it's going to be just a simple array right now. And so we have an array of ABC. You can always add more to it by doing that. So you see that's how you append into an array. array has some helper methods that you can use. First one would be first. You can call last. So there's some good helper methods that you can do. You can also do includes. So let's say we want to see if the letter C is in there. It returns true, but F is not. So what if you wanted to iterate over the array? There are two ways you can do that. The first one would be using the do and end. So you can say for each item within this array, I want to put item there, and so you see it does print out the items in each one. Another way you could do this is by using a block, and it's more commonly used when it's done in line. So let's say array.each, and then item, and then puts item like there, and you'll see that it does. Hold on. What did I do wrong here? I forgot to close out the. The quote there. So there you go. See, same response. It's just in line, a lot easier to read. So people normally use the blocks like that when it's in line. When it's not, they don't. So at least I don't. Excuse me. Okay, let's talk about sorting. So we have array here. Let's say we want a new array, and here's a shortcut to create an array by using %W. And what that does is it takes a string and it delimitates it by spaces. And for example, we have a string which is D, F, G, A, C, B. What am I missing here? E. So we have a string there, and we could say array is equal to string dot split, and that returns an array split by spaces. You can also pass in that. So that's kind of what the %W does. It's the same thing where you basically just pass in the D, F, G, A, C, B, and E, and it creates the array from that. So now that we have that, we want to get this sorted. So the way to do that would be by calling .sort. Let's say you want to do a sort, but you want it in reverse order. So you can do sort.reverse. Let's say you just want it in reverse order and not sorted. So you can do array.reverse, and you'll note that it does actually have the reverse from the original array. And when you call something like this, it doesn't actually set the value of the original variable itself. So array, to set it, you got to do array equals array dot reverse, and that's how you would actually set it. So now you do that, and it is set. So what if we want to let's say we have an array here and we want to double it. So let's say we have an array with actually, hold on, let me clear my head here. Let's create a new array here, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. And here's our new array. It has a bunch of duplicate characters. Our array.length is 13, and you want to get all of the unique ones out only. So to do that, you would just call array.unique, and then that would return only the unique values in that array. So you see the array.unique.length is 7. So we had six duplicates in that one. Okay, let's say we have two different arrays here of kid names. So we have Kyle, Eric, Stan, and Kenny in the first kids array, and Butters, Jimmy, Timmy, and Clyde in the second kids array. And we want to merge the two together. So one way we could do it is by using our kids, our append method. And let's say we just want to append kids2 to kids1. There we go. You see that it does add them together. But you'll note that here it didn't actually add the individual items. It added the whole array. So what do we do to get rid of that to make sure that it's the same array? What you would do is call kids1.flatten. Now that would return an array that is all on the same level. It gets rid of all the subarrays and all that stuff and make sure they're all on the same level. But you'll note that it doesn't actually set the value. So for me to do that, I'd have to say kids1 equals kids1 dot flatten. So there you go. You'll see that now kids1 is the new value. So let's say we want to go through these. Each one of the kids, we want to update the value within the array. To do that, I could do something like kids.map, and map is the command I'm actually talking about here. So, and I want to map for each kid. I want to change the value to this. So kid.capitalize loves Wendy, and we did something wrong here. Let's see what we did. Actually, I'm going to cheat and place this, so you'll note that this is the way to do it. That's because kids doesn't exist. There we go. So now you'll see that it does create the array again, or it returns the value, returns all of the unique values of the array, but it modifies each one of those elements in the array with whatever we did to it. So that is pretty cool. So let's say we want to set our new kids to that value. So you do the underscore. Underscore returns the last value that was returned in the console. So we assign new kids to the last value that was returned. So there we go. Now we have our new kids. Okay. Well, we're almost done. Let's go over the hash and learn how to use that. So I'm going to create a hash by this syntax right here, and you'll note that it has key and value. So I can actually call my hash and pass in the key of Ying, and it will return the value of Yang. Another way you can do it is, let's say my hash, you can actually set you can set a new key and value just by doing it this way. There we go. So if I do, you'll do my hash. Now we have four items in the array, or in the hash. So let's iterate over these, and I'm going to cheat again a little bit and paste this only because I have a tendency to mistype. So you'll see that we iterate over each one of the key value pairs in the hash, and we set the key and the value variable names right here so that we can access them within the loop. So you see that we have that, and we're going to hit end here, or we'll hit enter, and you'll note that it does go through each one, and we can access the keys and the values that way. So now that we have that, why don't we find out if a value or a key exists. So let's say my hash dot include Ying. And so that's how you would do it. And include, of course, is used in array, and it's also used in string. So it asks the keys if it exists. Now my hash dot keys is an array, and it's actually basically doing this, saying does this keys array include the word Ying. So you can do this on values as well. You can't actually say my hash dot include Yang, because it doesn't, because all it's checking is the keys. But to find out if it is in the if it's in the hash as a value, you can check the values. So my hash dot values dot include Yang, and yes, it does. So there we go. Now let's create a new hash, because I want to talk about sorting here, and this is actually going to be a little bit easier to follow on sorting. So we have a new hash, which by default always sorts by the key. So you'll see that we have the hash A, B, C, and D with the values 4, 1, 2, and 3. And I want to sort those. Let's say I want to sort them in reverse order of the key. So I can do my hash dot sort dot reverse, and you'll note that it does return the reversed hash here. and actually returns an array. It converts it to an array and then does the sorting that way, but it's still accessible, I believe, in the same way. It might not be. Anyway, so that's how you sort it by reverse. You can also sort by value, and a lot of people have a hard time doing this. So we have our array again, or I'm sorry, our hash, and we want to sort by the values. So the values should actually say 1, 2, 3, 4. To do that, you want to do myhash.sort and pass in, like we did before, the first and the second key value pair, and then we can manipulate it from here. So let's say we want to have the first value come before the second value in sorting by sorting it. So there we go. You'll note that now we have it going 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of A, B, C, D. So if you wanted to make it maybe in reverse value order, you just switch the B and the A here, and there you go. You have 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's how you do the sorting on hashes. Pretty simple stuff. Let's do one more thing. On this hash, let's say we have two hashes here. First one has ABC and the second one has D and E, and I want to merge them together and make one hash out of it. So I could say my new hash equals hash1.merge hash2. There we go. It's very simple. Now we have a new hash with all the values. And those are the most commonly used methods within the string, the arrays, and the hashes that I use. I just wanted to share those with you, and for those people who are new to Ruby, give you a little bit of a head start here. And for those who are coming from other languages and kind of want a guide on how to do this, I wish I had this for Groovy. You know, I've been reading books, but something like this would have been great for Groovy, and maybe I'll do one for Groovy as well eventually. But anyway, I hope you liked it. This screencast is sponsored by Jumpstart Lab. Jumpstart Lab offers private and corporate training in Ruby, Rails, and related technologies. They're experienced educators, not just good developers, and will get you going quickly. Courses can be scheduled in the U.S. or around the world, and curriculum customized to meet your needs. Learn more at jumpstartlab.com. This screencast is also sponsored by ClutterPad, the most awesome online project management and collaboration tool ever. Sign up now to get the chance to use it at www.clutterpad.com.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!